Brooks had always been the golden boy of Elmwood, Ohio, the one who mowed lawns for the elderly neighbors without asking for a dime, aced his SATs on the first try, and landed a scholarship to Ohio State that made the local paper's front page. At 32, he traded the cornfields for the concrete jungle of Chicago, where skyscrapers pierced the sky like defiant middle fingers to small-town conformity. But tonight, back home for his parents' 40th wedding anniversary, the weight of those fields pressed down on him harder than ever. The Elmwood Country Club banquet hall was decked out in gold and white streamers, balloons bobbing like false promises of joy, and the air smelled of roast beef and regret. He'd flown in 2 days early, telling himself it was to help with setup, but really it was to steal his nerves. His phone buzzed in his pocket for the umpteenth time. Text from Jordan, his boyfriend of 3 years, who was waiting back in their Wicker Park apartment. "You got this, babe. Just breathe." But breathing felt impossible here, where every glance from his mother carried the unspoken plea, "Don't embarrass us." Evelyn Harlan was the queen of Elmwood's bake sales and PDA fundraisers, her peroxide blonde bob as immaculate as her denial. And Harlan Sr., dad to everyone but Brooks, who still called him sir in his head, was the retired high school football coach whose handshake could crush walnuts, a man who'd pinned yellow ribbons on his fridge for troops overseas but never once hugged his son without a football between them. Brooks adjusted his tie in the hallway mirror, the navy silk a stark contrast to the faded flannel of his youth. He looked every bit the successful graphic designer now, lean from gym sessions that doubled as therapy, his hazel eyes sharp behind wire-rimmed glasses, a 5 o'clock shadow that Jordan loved to tease as ruggedly intellectual. But beneath it all, the secret festered like an untreated wound. He'd come out to his college roommate at 20, fucked his way through a string of anonymous hookups in smoky Boys Town bars, even marched in his first pride parade with a rainbow flag draped like armor. Yet with his family, nothing. Zilch. The closest he'd gotten was a mumbled excuse about focusing on my career, when Aunt Rita asked why he was still single at 30. The real kicker? Jordan. They'd met at a design conference in Austin 2 years back. Jordan with his easy grin, tattooed forearms peeking from rolled-up sleeves, and a laugh that cut through corporate bullshit like a hot knife. He was a freelance photographer from Detroit, all Midwestern charm wrapped in quiet intensity. The kind of guy who remembered your coffee order and your childhood fears without making it weird. Their first date had been tacos from a food truck, rain soaking them as they ducked under an awning. And by the third, Brooks was spilling his guts about Elmwood's suffocating grip. Jordan had held him that night, whispering, "You're not hiding anymore, Brooks. Not from me. But from them? Yeah, he was, and it was killing him." The cocktail hour dragged on, Brooks nursing a bourbon neat while dodging questions about his love life. Cousin Tammy, 3 kids in tow and a minivan lifestyle that screamed suburbia, cornered him by the dessert table. "So, Brooksy, when are you settling down? We need another Harlan in the family tree." Her laugh was all teeth, no warmth. He forced a chuckle, muttering something about the right one coming along, his eyes flicking to the exit like a caged animal plotting escape. That's when he saw him. Across the room, leaning against the bar with a scotch in hand, was Riley Tate. Brooks's stomach dropped like he'd missed a step on the stairs. Riley, tall, broad-shouldered, with that same tousled blonde hair and easy swagger that had haunted Brooks's dreams since senior year. They'd been best friends once, inseparable through peewee football and late-night bonfires, sharing secrets under starlit skies. Until that summer before college, when a drunken kiss behind the bleachers changed everything. Riley had bolted the next day, enlisting in the Marines without a goodbye, leaving Brooks with a bruised heart and a lifetime of what-ifs. Riley looked good, too good. The uniform was gone, replaced by a crisp white shirt that hugged his chest, sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms corded from God knows what deployments. His blue eyes scanned the room, landing on Brooks with a jolt that felt like electricity. He straightened, a slow smile creeping across his face, the kind that said "I see you" without a word. "Brooks Harlan," Riley drawled, closing the distance with that loose-hipped stride. Up close, he smelled like cedar and whiskey, a scent that punched Brooks right back to 18. "Holy shit, man. It's been, 14 years? 13, Brooks corrected automatically, his voice steadier than he felt. They shook hands, firm, lingering a beat too long, and Brooks wondered if Riley felt the tremor too. "Heard you got out of the Corps." What brings you back to this circus? Riley shrugged, his gaze dropping to Brooks's mouth before snapping back up. Mom's on the planning committee. Wouldn't miss it. Plus. He trailed off, something unreadable flickering in his eyes. Heard you were in town. Figured I'd see if the prodigal son still throws a mean spiral. Brooks laughed. A real one this time, the sound loosening the knot in his chest. They fell into easy banter, old stories about Coach Harlan's infamous no pain, no gain drills, the time they TP'd the principal's house and blamed it on the rival school's mascot. But underneath it, the current hummed, charged with the unspoken. Riley's knee brushed his under the high-top table they'd claimed, and neither pulled away. By the time dinner was served, prime rib for the straights, salmon for the adventurous. Brooks's phone was silent, Jordan's texts unanswered in the haze of nostalgia. Riley sat 2 tables over, stealing glances that burned hotter than the tea lights. And when the MC called for toasts, Brooks's name was on the list. His mother's doing, no doubt, a chance to shine for the family album. He stood, heart hammering, and made his way to the stage. The room blurred into a sea of expectant faces. This was it, the speech he'd rehearsed in his head 1,000 times on the L train home. Thanks for 40 years of love, Mom and Dad. You've built something unbreakable, safe, predictable. But as he stepped into the light, Riley's eyes locked on his from the crowd, steady and knowing, and the words twisted inside him like barbed wire. I can't do this anymore. The microphone amplified the fracture. The silence stretched, elastic and suffocating, as Brooks's confession hung in the air. His father's fork clattered against his plate, a metallic ping that echoed like a gunshot. Evelyn's hand flew to her pearls, clutching them as if they could ward off the devil himself. Whispers rippled outward. Did he say what I think he said? But Brooks pressed on, the bourbon fueling a fire he'd banked for too long. I've spent my whole life trying to be the son you wanted, he said, voice cracking but resolute, the mic turning his vulnerability into a broadcast. Straight-A student, all-American boy, the one who never rocked the boat. But I'm gay, Mom, Dad, everyone, and hiding it. It's been killing me. Gasps punctured the hush. Aunt Rita's wine glass tipped, staining the white tablecloth crimson. Cousin Tammy's mouth hung open, her kids staring wide-eyed like they'd witnessed a magic trick gone wrong. And Riley, God, Riley, sat frozen, his scotch halfway to his lips, eyes wide with a mix of shock and something deeper, like recognition. Brooks's gaze swept the room, landing on his parents' table. Harlan Sr.'s face was a thundercloud, veins bulging at his temples, but Evelyn, she looked shattered, tears carving tracks through her makeup. Brooks, honey, she whispered, but the mic caught it, amplifying her plea into the void. Not here, please. But here was exactly where it needed to be. The dam had broken, words flooding out in a torrent. He told them about the isolation of Elmwood High, lockers slamming on stolen glances at the swim team captain, about college where freedom tasted like cheap beer and fumbling hands in dorm rooms, about Jordan, the man who'd pieced him back together with quiet strength and unwavering love. He's my home, Brooks said, voice steadying as the truth anchored him. And I brought him here tonight because I wanted you to meet him, to see me, all of me. The doors at the back creaked open then, and there was Jordan, tall and unassuming in a gray blazer, camera bag slung over his shoulder like a shield. He'd driven the 8 hours from Chicago on a hunch, Brooks's vague text screaming trouble. The crowd parted as he walked forward, his dark eyes finding Brooks's with that steady calm that always grounded him. Hey, Jordan murmured, climbing the steps to pull him into a hug that smelled like rain-slicked streets and safety. You started without me. Laughter bubbled up from somewhere deep, hysterical and raw, breaking the tension like a pinprick. But it was short-lived. Harlan Sr. shoved back from the table, chair scraping like nails on chalkboard. This is bullshit, he growled, voice low but carrying in the stunned quiet. 40 years we've built a life here, Evelyn. A good Christian life. And now, this. He jabbed a finger at the stage, eyes boring into Brooks like he could will the words unsaid. Dad. Brooks started, but Harlan cut him off. No, you don't get to drop this bomb on our night and expect. What? Applause? We're Harlans. We don't air dirty laundry in public. He stormed toward the exit, shoulders rigid, the crowd murmuring in his wake like a funeral procession. Evelyn rose shakily, dabbing her eyes with a napkin. "Brooks, we need to talk. Privately." Her voice was a plea wrapped in ice, and she followed her husband out, leaving a trail of dropped silverware and stunned relatives. The MC cleared his throat awkwardly. Folks, let's raise a glass to the happy couple." But the toast fell flat, champagne fizzing untouched. Jordan's arm tightened around Brooks's waist as they descended the stage. "You okay?" he whispered, thumb tracing circles on his back. Brooks nodded, but it was a lie. His chest ached like it had been hollowed out. "I think I just nuked my family." "Nah," Jordan said softly, pressing a kiss to his temple. "You lit a match. Now we see what burns." They slipped out to the patio, the November chill biting through their shirts, stars pricking the ink-black sky like distant judgments. Jordan lit a cigarette, bad habit from his photojournalist days, and offered it to Brooks, who took a drag, coughing on the bitterness. "Riley's here," he admitted, exhaling smoke into the night. "My old friend, the one I told you about." Jordan's brow arched, but there was no jealousy, just that quiet understanding. "The kiss and run Marine? Shit, Brooks, that's a plot twist." "Yeah." Brooks leaned against the railing, the wood rough under his palms. "Saw him earlier. Felt like unfinished business." Before Jordan could respond, the door banged open. Riley stepped out, hands shoved in his pockets, breath fogging in the cold. "Hey, that was ballsy." Brooks straightened, heat creeping up his neck. "Yeah, well, bottled it up too long." Riley nodded, glancing at Jordan with a respectful nod. "I'm Riley. Old complication." "Jordan." They shook, the moment charged but civil. "Heard the war stories. Sounds like you two have history." "More like wreckage," Riley said with a wry smile, but his eyes on Brooks were soft, searching. "Look, I didn't come out here to stir shit, but what you did in there took guts I wish I'd had back then." The words landed like a lifeline. Brooks swallowed hard. "You enlisted because of me, didn't you? To run." Riley's jaw tightened. "Partly. Scared shitless, yeah. Small town, big feelings, I panicked. Joined up thinking distance would fix it. But it didn't. Carried you with me through sandstorms and foxholes." He paused, voice dropping. "When I got your mom's invite, I came hoping. Hell, I don't know. To say sorry." Jordan excused himself tactfully. "Gonna grab us some coats." Leaving them in the brittle quiet, Brooks's pulse thrummed. "Why now?" "Because life's too short for regrets," Riley murmured, stepping closer. The air between them crackled, old sparks igniting. "And because seeing you up there, free, made me realize I've been hiding too." Their lips met then, tentative then urgent, a collision of past and present under the Ohio stars. It was wrong, Brooks knew, with Jordan inside and his world in ashes, but it felt like absolution. Riley's hands framed his face, callous thumbs brushing tears Brooks hadn't realized were falling. The door swung open again. "Brooks!" Evelyn's voice sliced through, sharp as shattered glass. They sprang apart. She stood there, arms crossed, eyes red-rimmed. "We need to talk. Now." The family suite upstairs was a relic of 80s opulence. Floral wallpaper peeling at the edges, a mini fridge humming like a judgmental ant. Harlan Sr. paced the carpet, fists clenched, while Evelyn perched on the edge of the bed, twisting a tissue into oblivion. Brooks entered last, Jordan hovering in the doorway until a glare from Dad sent him retreating to the hall. "Sit," Harlan barked, gesturing to the armchair like it was a witness stand. Brooks obeyed, spine rigid, the taste of Riley's kiss still lingering like contraband. "What the hell was that down there?" Harlan exploded, whirling to face him. "Parading your deviance in front of God and everybody. On our anniversary." "Harlan," Evelyn interjected softly, but he steamrolled on. "No, Evie, this ends tonight. We've given you everything, a roof, college, a name to be proud of, and you repay us by turning your back on everything we stand for." Brooks's temper flared, hot and unbidden. "Stand for? Like what, Dad? Pretending? Hiding who I am to keep up appearances?" I've been doing that for you my whole life. Harlan's face purpled. Watch your tone, boy. This ain't some liberal college crap. This is family. Values. The Bible. The Bible. Brooks shot up, voice rising. You mean the parts that suit you? What about love thy neighbor? Or the fact that mom's sister ran off with that artist in '95 and you welcomed her back with open arms? That was different, Evelyn whispered, but her eyes darted away, guilty. Was it? Brooks pressed, turning to her. Because she was straight? Or because she didn't challenge your perfect little narrative? Harlan slammed a fist on the dresser, rattling a lamp. Enough! You're not leaving this room until you apologize to your mother. To me. To every guest who drove hours for this. Apologize. The word tasted like ash. Brooks looked at Evelyn, searching for the woman who'd bandaged his knees and sung him lullabies. Mom? Say something. Please. She met his gaze, tears spilling anew. I wanted you happy, baby. A wife, kids, the white picket fence. Like us. Her voice broke. Is that so wrong? It's not wrong, Brooks said gently, kneeling before her. It's just not me. Jordan, he's good to me. Sees me. Loves me without conditions. Can't you try? Harlan snorted. That pansy in the hall? The one who drove up like some white knight? We don't even know him. You could, Brooks countered. If you'd let him in. The argument spiraled then. Accusations flying like shrapnel. Harlan dredging up Brooks's wasted potential on art school instead of business. Evelyn pleading for time to adjust. Brooks defending his life in Chicago, the gallery shows, the community he'd built brick by brick. By the end, voices hoarse, Harlan stormed out to the balcony for air, leaving mother and son in fragile truce. I'm sorry it hurts you, Brooks murmured, squeezing her hand. But I can't go back. Evelyn nodded, a ghost of a smile. Your father, he's scared. Of losing you, of what people will say. Let them talk, Brooks said. I'm done whispering. Downstairs, the party had limped on. Forced dances, awkward small talk. But word had spread like wildfire through Elmwood's gossip vines. By midnight, Brooks and Jordan were fielding texts. Proud of you, 'cause from Tammy, surprisingly. Call me. We'll talk from an old teammate who'd apparently been in the closet since prom. And Riley, who slipped him a note during a hushed corridor encounter. Drinks tomorrow? Unfinished business awaits. Jordan raised an eyebrow when Brooks showed him. History's calling. You answering. It's closure, Brooks insisted, though his gut twisted. Nothing more. But the next day, over IPAs at O'Malley's, the dive bar where they'd shared their first illicit beers, closure felt like a lie. Riley was all easy charm, regaling Brooks with desert tales that masked the shadows in his eyes. PTSD, he admitted quietly, the word heavy as a rucksack. Came out to my folks last year. They took it. Okay. Yours. Disaster, Brooks said, clinking bottles. Dad's icing me out. Mom's tiptoeing. Riley leaned in, voice low. You deserve better. Always did. His hand covered Brooks's on the scarred wood table, thumb stroking in a rhythm that echoed that long-ago kiss. Guilt gnawed at Brooks as he pulled away. Riley, Jordan. I know. Riley's smile was bittersweet. Just, if it crashes, you know where to find me. That night, back at the family home. A sprawling rancher with a manicured lawn that screamed conformity. Brooks and Jordan crashed in the guest room, the air thick with unspoken tension. Jordan's lovemaking was tender, almost reverent, hands mapping Brooks's body like a photographer framing a shot. You're mine, he whispered against Brooks's collarbone, fierce and possessive. Don't forget. But in the dark, Brooks's mind wandered to Riley's touch, the what could have been pulling like a riptide. The betrayal came swift and surgical 2 days later, during the post-anniversary brunch at the diner on Main Street. Brooks stepped out for coffee, leaving Jordan sketching on his iPad inside. His phone buzzed. A voicemail from Harlan Sr. We need to talk. Alone. Meet me at the old field. Heart pounding, Brooks drove to Harlan Field. The floodlights long dark, goalposts rusting sentinels to glory days. His father waited on the bleachers, silhouette stark against the dawn fog. Dad, Brooks called, approaching warily. Harlan turned, face etched with something worse than anger, resignation. Saw you with that Tate boy yesterday. At the bar. Brooks's blood iced. It's not. Don't. Harlan held up a hand. I followed you. Needed to see for myself if the rumors were true. And there you were, holding hands like some fairy tale. The slur landed like a slap. You spied on me? Protected you, Harlan snapped. From yourself. From him. Tate's trouble always was. Ran off once. He'll do it again. You don't know shit about Riley, Brooks fired back, voice shaking. Or me. I know enough. Harlan stood, towering. Pack your bags. Leave Jordan. Come home. We'll get you help. A therapist, pastor, whatever it takes. But this ends now, or you're no son of mine. The ultimatum hung. A guillotine blade. Brooks walked away, numb, the gravel crunching under his boots like breaking bones. He didn't tell Jordan. Not yet. Instead, he drove straight to Riley's motel. The Starlight Inn on the edge of town. Neon sign flickering like a bad omen. Riley answered shirtless, surprise melting into concern. Brooks? What's wrong? Everything? Brooks choked, collapsing into his arms. They tumbled onto the bed, clothes shedding like old skin. Riley's mouth erasing the pain with urgent kisses. It was frantic, desperate. A reclaiming of stolen youth. Riley's hands were rough from war, but gentle in their mapping, whispering praises that Brooks had craved since 18. I've wanted this, Riley groaned, hips grinding. You. Always. Climax crashed over them like a wave, leaving Brooks adrift in aftershocks. But as Riley dozed, sated, guilt clawed back in. This wasn't closure. This was wreckage. Jordan found out the hard way. He showed up at the motel at dusk, face ashen, Brooks's drop jacket from the diner in hand. Forgot this, he said through the cracked door, voice flat. But his eyes, those dark, perceptive eyes, took in the rumpled bed, Riley stirring behind Brooks, and the pieces clicked. Jordan, Brooks stammered, yanking on his shirt, but the damage was etched in Jordan's flinch. You fucked him. Not a question. A gut punch. Jordan's laugh was hollow, bitter. After everything. The speech, the family drama, I thought we were in this. But nah. Old flames burn hotter, right? It's not like that, Brooks pleaded, reaching out, but Jordan recoiled. Bullshit. I drove 8 hours, stood by you while your dad called me a pansy to my face. And you? Sneaking off for a nostalgia fuck. Tears welled, but Jordan blinked them back, jaw set. I'm done being the safe choice. He turned on his heel, the door slamming like finality. Brooks chased him into the parking lot, gravel biting his bare feet. Wait, please. It was a mistake one night. I love you. Jordan paused by his rental car, keys jangling. Love? That's what you call this? He shook his head, voice cracking. You deserve to be free, Brooks. But not at my expense. Figure your shit out. The taillights faded into the twilight, leaving Brooks hollowed. Riley's arms no comfort when he stumbled back inside. The drive to Chicago was a blur. Rain-slicked highways mirroring the storm inside. Brooks crashed on a friend's couch in Logan Square, ignoring the voicemails piling up. Evelyn's tearful come home, we can fix this. Harlan's curt don't make me regret this call. Riley's tentative talk to me. Jordan's silence was the loudest, a void that echoed his betrayal. Weeks bled into a gray haze. Work suffered, clients complaining about half-assed mock-ups, until his boss pulled him aside. Take time, Harlan. Heal. But healing felt like surrender. It was a pride float in Boys Town that cracked him open. Stumbling through the parade drunk on cheap vodka, rainbow flags whipping in the wind, he spotted a sign. Love wins when you let it. Sobbing in an alley, he dialed Jordan. Voicemail. I'm sorry. For everything. I choose you. If you'll have me. No reply. But the next morning, a text. Coffee? Neutral ground. They met at a corner cafe, tension thick as fog. Jordan looked wrecked. Bags under his eyes, beard unkempt. But there, in the harsh fluorescent light, he listened. Brooks spilled it all. The fear, the pull of the past, Harlan's ultimatum that had tipped him over. I ran to Riley because he was safe, familiar. But you're home. The one I fight for. Jordan stirred his latte. Silent eons ticking by. Betrayal cuts deep, Brooks. Trust. That's shattered glass. Takes time to sweep up. I know. Brooks's voice trembled. I'll wait. Therapy, whatever. Just don't give up. A ghost of a smile. One step. Date 1. See if we fit again. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was hope. A thread to cling to. Back in Elmwood for Christmas, Brooks braced for war. Harlan greeted him at the door with a stiff nod. Evelyn with a hug that lingered. No mention of the anniversary, but over eggnog, Harlan cleared his throat. Saw a documentary on your kind. Made me think. Brooks held his breath. And, not saying it's easy. Harlan's eyes, so like his own, softened. But you're my boy. Always will be. Evelyn squeezed his hand. We love you. Jordan too. Invite him next time. Riley called a week later, voice steady. Heard you're patching things. Good. I'm shipping out again. Contract work in the sandbox. Needed to say, I'm proud of you. Let go. You too, Brooks said, peace settling like snow. Take care of yourself. Hanging up, he turned to Jordan, curled on the couch with a photo album of their travels. Ready for round 2? Jordan teased, pulling him close. More than, Brooks murmured, kissing him slow and sure. In the end, the silence from that stage hadn't been the end. It was the beginning. A fracture that let light in, mending cracks with messy human grace. Brooks Harlan, once hidden, now whole under Midwestern skies. Love, it turned out, wasn't a stage whisper. It was a roar.